Thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com, home of technical analysis education in both the stock market and cryptocurrency worlds. See the links in the description of this video for more information on our two courses, Entries and Exits on the Fundamentals of Technical Analysis, as well as our new course on Trading Cryptocurrency Strategy. Purchase both and receive a 20% off bundle discount. Thanks for checking us out. Let's get on to the technical analysis. Hello everyone, hope you're having a good Friday. Looking at the cryptocurrencies, we're going to look at NEO and OMG in addition to the big three. And Litecoin is the star of the show this afternoon just because Charlie Lee and his tweets certainly having an impact yet again. And it's also a good study to be watching just for historical information. How do these tweets affect the price? What kind of volume do we see come in? How does it break the correlation? That's what I'm most interested in. How long does it break the correlation for compared to the other big three? So we see these breaks. Again, it's the volume influx that breaks the correlation, and it eventually fades back once the volume slows down, and it syncs back up with those correlations. But knowing that information just historically and having examples to be going off of, that's the kind of thing that you can be making, you know, observations of and even writing down. This is how much volume came in on this Charlie Lee tweet, you know, this date and this time, and the correlation was broken for this amount of time, and then it picked back up again. And that can be useful information that you can utilize in the future. And it's very important to make note of this because what Charlie Lee is doing is fairly comparable to what Musk does with Tesla, Elon Musk. And he is known in the stock world for being able to hold his stock price up and know when to run it and know when to say the right things that the market is going to react to through his Twitter account. And Charlie Lee is becoming that person for the cryptocurrency space. And it's definitely a wild card where, you know, we're not seeing that with many other big name, just ETH for an example. We're not seeing ETH utilize a Twitter account the way that Charlie Lee is. It's a good thing and a bad thing. The only bad thing would be if anything, you know, God forbid anything happens to Charlie Lee, we're going to see Litecoin absolutely tank because it's almost like the coin is on his back at this point. He is the main figure. But other than that, it is nice to, you know, have that tool where he can put something bullish out and change the short-term direction. And if you are on top of his Twitter feed and you get that information first, it's a very easy, quick flip to be made when news comes out. It's comparable as well in the stock world where you have, you know, I used to watch CNBC at times when I would trade, and they'd say, you know, coming up we have a new IPO that you want to keep your eyes on. And then I'd go and I'd look at what's a new IPO today, and I'd see that there's a vision company or whatever that was IPOing, so I bought shares of that, and then they come on after the commercial break on CNBC and they talk about it, and then it runs up for the next half an hour because everybody's, you know, the millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people are watching that and seeing it, and they're buying after it. So the fact that I was able to get that information beforehand, that's just a little quick example, it leads to a day trade opportunity to hit that little surge in volume and get out. Ideally, for me, I would want to get out. Unless it's huge news, we are going to see profit taking on these tweets. So Bitcoin on a daily time frame, we're still looking for a higher low. And as after the video yesterday, we did see a nice bounce attempt, and the bounces did not go as high as my targets were pointing out, but certainly enough opportunity for profit. We had Ethereum go, you know, about $20 off the low. So able to lock in some gains there, and it faded and the bears took back over. So here on the daily time frame, we're still watching the Bitcoin 3475 key support. That is the higher low on the daily time frame. If we break that level, the bears are right back in full control of pretty much every time frame except for the weekly chart at this point. So that is the level the bulls want to hold. The bulls are trying to form a bullish reversal doji. We have 2 hours until this candlestick closes, and we are still on the verge of a bull MACD cross. If we can establish a daily higher low and see the bulls show back up, then we will get that bullish daily MACD cross and see some follow through. The 4 hour time frame, we are still watching the lower highs. So the bear break from the double bottom was the red flag for the bulls, 38.50, and since then it's been nothing but lower highs and lower lows. And we can see we're forming just another lower high right now. I'm looking at it comparison to 37.68, and right now we're topping out at 36.47. So for this trend to change, we're not going to change it right off the low unless it's news related, which obviously we don't want to be trading hoping for news. So a lower high is forming. We would then have to form a higher low and a higher high to see a 4 hour bullish MACD cross, a break of the lower high pattern, a bullish reversal daily candlestick form. All of these things will line up with each other if this 4 hour time frame gives the bulls that kind of signal. but not there yet. You see the upper wick of profit taking from this most recent bull move, and we zoom into the hourly time frame and see that we're still forming some lower highs here. We did break a couple levels of resistance, but not convincing at any point for a trend change, and I would even be drawing a trend line here to be keeping an eye on the bear control, and I would put it right there, making sure no candlesticks are closing above it. Many touches on this downtrend line. That is a valid downtrend line to be watching, and we are forming a bearish reversal spinning top candlestick on the hourly right under that level. So that's something to keep an eye on. And again, we're coming right off of our low. We don't have any higher lows really established at this point. That's what the bulls have to put together in order to change this momentum. So until that happens, I'm not trading anything right now. I haven't made a trade today. I did sell from last night. Sold, I'll go over that with Ethereum, but I'm not currently making any trades. The 4-hour RSI is close to oversold, close enough where if we do break down, there will be an oversold 4-hour bounce play if we break this support. But as of right now, the bulls are going to be attempting to defend that support with everything they have, and we'll be looking to see if they can get that 4-hour higher low and higher high. So I need a lot of proving by the bulls to shift this momentum for me to get in on any trade besides an oversold hourly or an oversold 4-hour bounce. So Ethereum on the daily time frame, same story. We do have a higher low though. It's a little bit of a different setup. So support is 240.15, and we didn't break the low of yesterday. We have an inside bar, and we look at the daily for Bitcoin, and we did break a lower low. So Ethereum stands out compared to the other two because it did not break that level, and we'll look at why that is on the equilibrium pattern that's currently forming, why it stands out as some more strength. Same thing though, if we form a higher low on the daily and the bulls show up, we'll see a bullish MACD cross. We're just waiting for it right here on the daily. The 4-hour time frame is also still seeing lower highs and lower lows, and we have one higher low actually, so that's the difference right there. So it was 250, 255, higher low at 254.01, so we have an equilibrium pattern to be watching. If we break the equilibrium pattern, same thing as Bitcoin, we're going to see a bull MACD cross, we're going to see a daily bull MACD cross, and we're going to see momentum shift from bear to bull in the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame. That's what I refer to when I'm saying shorter term. On the 4-hour, we're looking, a day or two out. So on the hourly time frame, here's the equilibrium pattern. We have our low of the pullback, high of the bounce, higher low, and currently a lower high with either a bearish reversal doji or a bearish reversal spinning top, same as what Bitcoin is currently seeing on this little bull move. So there's our higher low and lower high, and that is the range currently watching for Ethereum. So a tightening pattern that should give us a clear break sometime. If we pull back maybe 3 hours and then another 3 hours or so, could be later tonight, early tomorrow morning, for a break of this hourly equilibrium pattern. But again, have to see Bitcoin correlation there unless there's news for Ethereum to break that correlation like Litecoin saw today. So here's Litecoin on the daily, a bit of a different setup due to the bounce playing out quicker and breaking some support. So we don't have much support here. The bulls are trying to hold 45 with everything they can, because after 45, we're looking at just psychological levels all the way down to 33.56. So it would be 44, 43, 40, all the way down in terms of support, because there's no price action in these levels where we have support. So the bulls are looking to hold 45. The 4-hour time frame is also seeing lower highs and lower lows. Even with that news volume, we still haven't broken the trend, which is why I would look to take profit on that short-term bull move relative to the Charlie Lee tweet. And here's that tweet right there. Did a cross-chain atomic swap, and that's why our thumbnail is Dragon Ball Z. That's his thing. And you can see, 480 retweets. There's definitely people watching it, and it does get attention. And that is when we see the reaction in the market. So let's look at Litecoin. Still clearly lower highs on the 4-hour of 49.72 and now 48.88. But let's look at that 5-minute time frame to see that news really take hold. And that tweet came out. It really had a bit of a heads up where the news came out right about here, that tweet, and the bull volume didn't come in for maybe a half hour more. And then you could see the big bull volume. We ran up. We got really overextended. The 5-minute RSI at that point was up around 90. 15-minute RSI was in the 80s. And now we have an equilibrium pattern on the 5-minute where we have our high, low of the pullback at 47.30, a lower high at 48.42, and a tightening range on the 5-minute time frame. So definite profit taking on this move, but we'll see how this equilibrium pattern breaks. A different look at it, the 15-minute time frame, declining bear volume on the pullback. And if I miss a bull move like this, and I know profit taking is going to be happening, there is always, I shouldn't say always, but the vast majority of the time, there's this secondary bounce, and you can play it anticipating the equilibrium pattern. So you know you want to take profit quickly because the odds of forming a lower high are a lot more likely than not, unless it's a bull flag, very brief consolidation. But when it's drawn out like this, you know we're going to see a higher low established, a lower high, and the equilibrium pattern. That happens 9 out of 10 times. So you can make an entry. If you miss the move, you don't want to chase on the way up, you can play the bounce after we consolidate and form that higher low, as long as there's still volume and liquidity, which we certainly still had here. So checking in on some shorter term time frames, there's the hourly, big bull move, but again, still a lower high. Hourly time frame has to form a higher low and a higher high to shift momentum, same as the other two. So the correlation broke short term. Let's look at the 15-minute time frame compared to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did see this a run up here, but it was nowhere near, here we go, nowhere near the kind of run up we saw on Litecoin that just had extra added momentum. But look at this correlation with the 15-minute, a half hour of red of a pullback and then 15 minutes of green. And here we go, half hour of red, 15 minutes of green. So there is correlation still there. And just watching to see if the bulls can break to higher highs and watching to see if we have the same correlation intact now, where if we cannot see a break of the high of Bitcoin, if Litecoin is going to be unable to break as well. So checking in on OMG. This is OMG USD on Bittrex. And we've got a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern to be keeping an eye on. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We have a neckline of support. The neckline key level is 659. If we break 659, we're heading down to lower lows, and that's going to shift the momentum. And what that does is it takes the pattern from higher lows and higher highs. Then we have a lower high, or I should say a lower low, a lower high, and a potential shift of the trend and another lower low. So keeping a close eye on this bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. A 4-hour time frame for some more details. We can see the bulls are trying to shift that momentum to keep support. We have our low, lower high staying in the pattern, higher low, and we have to break 912 for the bulls to shift momentum on the 4-hour, see this bull MACD cross follow through, and fend off the potential of this bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern for the time being. So all about 912 resistance here in the short term. We have a daily inside bar forming to be keeping an eye on and watching to see if the bulls can defend the support and prevent from that bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. So it's going to be a pretty important next couple of days for OMG. And that 4-hour time frame is going to be key in the shorter term. NEO, NEO USD, and I take that back. That was actually OMG USD. Let's see, what pairing was that? That was OMG USD on Bittrex. That's right. So NEO is going to be NEO USD on Bitfinex. And here on the daily time frame, we've got 1390 as support, or I should say 1319. And now we're looking for a higher low at 1656. Inside bar on the daily time frame, trying to see a bullish reversal candlestick. A higher low and a higher high would be very bullish, but we would have to break 2320 to see that higher high. So still a lot of work to do. But looking at the 4-hour time frame, again, it's the same thing, and we have a little bit more follow through compared to OMG, where we have our low, lower high of the bounce staying in the pattern, higher low, higher high, bull MACD cross on the 4-hour. And the bull volume is certainly there. So let's see now if this trend changes with higher lows and higher highs on the 4-hour. Same thing we're looking for on the big three that hasn't happened yet is happening on NEO here. And that's what we're looking for on the big three. Again, just a refresher on Bitcoin, the 4-hour, still lower highs. And we need a higher low and a higher high. And it looks like the 15-minute for Bitcoin just is about to hit a higher high. Look at Litecoin right there with it. So following through, that was a really nice entry opportunity, 47.30. And here we are up $1.40 from that level, testing resistance of 48.88. So that correlation is absolutely still there. And checking in on Ethereum to see if it's following along. Very, very similar. All three of them back to very similar. So that's what we've got here. NEO again. Resistance right now is 1950. And the key level, 2320. Break that level and the daily chart looks a whole lot better for the bulls, as that is a change in the momentum. Whereas right now we're seeing a clear pullback, lower highs and lower lows, and trying for this higher low and higher high, which is fairly close to following through. Although we still need, another 20%. Not a lot in the world of alts, but definitely a lot more proving that the bulls have to do. So I appreciate you watching. Might go live later this weekend on Sunday for just altcoins specifically. Have to see. I got a wedding coming up, so we'll be in and out. But looking forward to the potential of this 4-hour break of the trend, but I'm not giving the bulls any benefit of the doubt because we are clearly in a downtrend still on the 4-hour time frame, and we're so close to this support where if that does break, I'm not confident that the bears are going to ease up here because they know that support's very critical, and if they push through that support, they will have full control back on the daily time frame, which still belongs to the bulls as long as we have a higher low. So tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, and I'll try and check back in before I do head out for the day. Oh, I want to talk about my trade just a little bit. So Ethereum, it's a little bit harder for me personally when I'm not sitting at my computer to dictate, where I buy and sell. And one thing that Coinbase really has to change is being able to place multiple orders. I have to be able to place a stop loss and a sell limit at the same time. They're called conditional orders in stocks, and to be only be able to place one is extremely dangerous, really, and really limiting. So if I want to protect myself in a trade and I'm heading out for the night, I have to either choose between a stop loss, but then if the bull move plays out like I think it will, I'm not going to have any orders to sell my position. So you really have to have access to a computer to both protect yourself and then be able to switch to take profit. So what I did last night was choose to have my profit levels set because I was confident that the oversold bounce would get a bit more momentum behind it. So I placed my stop loss or my sell orders. I staggered them on the way up. Again, I'm not trying to nail the top. I want to make sure that I get filled on the way up. And I had them at 269.95, 270.95, 271.95, 272.95, and those were my orders. So I did fill about 2/3 of my sells on the way up and locked in really nice profit from my entry in the low 50s and almost nailed the top by 5 cents. So that my third order that did fill, my third sell order, filled by 5 cents from the top. But the downside is, obviously that would have been a really nice trade, but the fact that I was holding on to a third of it that did not fill, then by the time I got to my computer this morning, I had to sell back at break even on that third of my position. So only 2/3 of my position locked in the nice profit on that trade, and I had to settle with, cutting loose that last third because those orders did not line up and did not allow me more maneuverability. So Coinbase definitely has a ways to go with its interface. Another thing is knowing the cost basis of your positions. Having to do that math roughly in your head is really inconvenient on the fly. If I'm entering 4 or 5 different positions of a coin here, it should be able to calculate instantly what my average entry is to give me that information to make trades based off of. So a couple things that Coinbase will update in the future if they do want to be a leader in this space, and those conditional orders certainly a big factor. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.